Welcome to Spotlight Sessions, where we shine a
What's
light
your
on
story?
incredible impact. What does accessibility mean to you?
What's your mission? Welcome all to accessiBe's Spotlight Sessions, where we shine a light on incredible individuals and organizations and the work that they do. I'm your host, Josh Basil. I'm a C4-5 quadriplegic, paralyzed below my shoulders, and a power wheelchair user. I'm the Community Relations Manager at accessiBe and a passionate disability rights advocate and trial attorney focused on breaking down barriers to access and inclusion for people with disabilities. Today on accessiBe Spotlight Sessions, we're joined by Simon Sansome, the CEO of Snowball. Welcome, Simon.
Thank you for having me.
Well, excited to share your story and all that you're doing, but let's dive right into that. Tell us a little bit about yourself and the Snowball Community, which I can't believe you have more than 20 million people a month going and being a part of this award-winning campaign. So tell us more.
Yeah, so in 2014, I became disabled. A chiropractor crushed my spine. And I worked in social services before for 8 years. And after a year of recovery, I eventually went out in a wheelchair and went to our favorite restaurant, and I couldn't get in. So I ended up urinating in the restaurant. There was, we had to move people out of the way of the disabled access area on the door because they were having their dinner in front of it. And it was a horrible experience. And I thought, this is my first time out in a wheelchair. There's got to be some way of raising awareness of this. And I wasn't really on a campaign mission at the time. I was just trying to raise awareness of disabled access in the Leicester area, Leicestershire, England. And I set up a Facebook page called back then it was called Ability Access. It's now been rebranded Snowball Community. And I didn't think anything of it. I just set it up, and overnight I had like 150 followers. And I thought, great, people are talking about it 24 hours, people are raising awareness, people are chatting, and it just didn't stop growing. Within the first month and a half, we had like 2,000 followers. And then people started giving me awards, which was quite nice, for raising awareness in the local community. And I thought, well, this has got legs. What's going on here? And then once it got to 20,000, when it got really serious, because people were starting to advertise on there as well. They wanted to share their experiences. People wanted to put their businesses on there. And now we're about 110,000, but it's not just the followers that we've got. It's the shares. So the maximum we've reached in 1 month is 32 million in 1 month, in 30 days. That was quite cool. Yeah. So it's not just, I'm sure you're well aware, is people who are disabled, we like to talk, we like to complain. And if something doesn't go our way, we make ourselves known. And I found that out very quickly, is the disabled community, which includes myself, do like to complain about when things don't go our way. And Snowball Community is a very good way of sharing that on Facebook. When people have issues, when people want to share videos, when people want to raise complaints or raise awareness or do campaigns, it's become the go-to platform for things like that. So,
well, I love this journey that you've been on, and thank you for making these conversations and creating a snowball, creating a domino effect to really get change pushed forward. And the whole we do complain, but at the same time, I like passionately advocate. We are fierce advocates.
I'm very plain spoken. I like to say we like to bitch.
There you go. And so much of your journey, like obviously disability had a major impact on your life later in life, but like if you could go back in time, what would you tell your younger self that you've learned from what you know now?
That I've got that if you're disabled, make sure you know, or if you get injured, make sure you know what your injury is, because I didn't find out what it was for 2 years, and I was misdiagnosed, and that's why I'm paralyzed. So make sure you do research and Google searches and stuff. So that was an interesting one. But it sounds really bad. I've got quite a good quality of life, to be honest. I wouldn't change a thing. And the reason for it, it's kind of given me a drive. It's kind of given me the passion to do things. And it's, so, I mean, obviously when the injury happened, I went through hell. I'm paralyzed from the waist down. And, you woke up one morning and you can't feel anything. You think you've had a stroke. You think you're going to die. And I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. However, from a successful point of view, from business and personal and finances, I was working in social services for 8 years, earning £27,000 a year. And, now I'm there's no easy way of saying it, and I'm not trying to boast. I am extremely successful in both business and finance. So, and that's because I have a disability, because it's given me the passion to do more, to carry on, to integrate with more, to meet more people, to get out there, to try and advocate for people, and to try and make a difference in the world, to try and improve it for people. And while I was doing it before working for the council, it certainly wasn't to the same degree or the passion. It was a job to go to work and get a pension at the end. So for me, I haven't worked a day since I became injured.
That's a beautiful way of approaching it, and it's just you found your purpose, you found a passion, and you do it very well, and you're mobilizing the troops, getting voices, wheels on the ground, you name it, getting all abilities to have these conversations. This is how we change the world. So thank you for. I never wish a disability on anybody, but when somebody takes a disability and then does something really beautiful to not let it hold you back, or not let it basically stop you from living your best life. Life is too beautiful right now and in the future to not live, love, and be a part of it. I love asking this question.
Go on, sorry.
You go, Simon.
So it has been a crazy ride as well. There's been we had a company who approached to make a documentary about me as well. And it went on to win 16 international film awards, and Amazon brought it as well. So that was a little bit crazy. And then the Snowball app is now the most used disability app in the world. It's we launched it just over a year ago. It's effectively TripAdvisor for the disabled community, and it's available on Apple and Android. It's extremely successful in the UK. We are trying to branch out into America and Canada, but it is taking time because we are UK primarily based. We have about 20 reviews in New York at the moment. So that's where we're getting to at the moment. But it's people are using it. We have thousands of daily users on it, and people can you can use it anywhere in the world. It's available on Apple and Android, and you download it. It's under Snowball Community, and you add places, you leave reviews, and you say if you go back. So you can rate the place on how accessible it is you're visiting, whether it's a pub, a restaurant, a school, a cinema, a theatre, wherever you can roll in or out of. You can leave a review of, which is quite nice.
Another beautiful thing, right? So tying into that, what does accessibility mean to you?
Accessibility is me living my life. That's what it means. And I hate being turned away from places. Everyone does. I'll give you an example. I went down to London a few months ago. We booked an accessible room. It's got a roll-in shower, which is great because that's what I need. But they had 8 steps going up at the front of the hotel. And we got to the hotel and we're like, can you not manage the stairs? Well, no, I'm in a wheelchair. And then they took me around the back of the hotel and I said, look, there's 2 steps there. And I go, can't you manage those 2 steps? And they went, no. So they had an accessible room with a roll-in shower, but you couldn't actually get into the hotel. And so because I travel a lot for work, I do. In November, December, we spent more time in hotels than we did at home. And, it's accessibility is me getting out and about and living and doing my job. That's what it is. If I can't get in, I can't do my work.
You can't be a part of the world. You're left at the front door.
Yeah, very much.
You do have a large kind of social media following, and just being in being surrounded by both the physical and the digital world. I'm just curious, what do you feel like there's enough accommodations out there for people with disabilities?
Oh, absolutely not. It's atrocious. And this is what I'm trying to change, because you can select on the Snowball app where's accessible and where's not in the UK. So if you're looking for accessible hotels, if you're looking for accessible stays, then you can select where you want to stay. And it's just having that information at hand, because otherwise it's an absolute nightmare trying to find accessible accommodation. But there are, I'll give you an example of what's going on with work at the moment with Snowball. We are trying to find an accessible office. So at the moment, we work from home, okay? But we're taking on 70 staff in the next few months to cover the whole of the UK. And we need an office and somewhere in Leicestershire. And there's not one accessible office anywhere in Leicestershire, Nottinghamshire and Derbyshire. And it's a radius of like 120, 130 square miles. And I cannot find an office for me to move into or the team to move into because they're not accessible.
So
it's not just the workplace.
Any sense.
Yeah,
that's a huge barrier for you to be able to keep doing what you're doing and hire the skills and talents of your staff, which will probably have many, many abilities, right? So like you need an accessible place for all of your workers and coworkers, employees.
Because the majority of people we're going to be hiring are people with disabilities. So
that's awesome. What advice would you give to businesses wanting to be more accessible?
For the UK, there's something called Access to Work, which supports employees going to work. You can have the Snowball assessment as well, which is great. We can come to your business to give a consultation on how accessible you are, and then we advise you on how to improve it. We're also hopefully going to be working with Hidden Disabilities, which is the lanyards, the sunflower lanyard. And what they do is they go in to actually train the staff on how to look after people who are, or work with colleagues who have a disability or hidden disability or physical disability. And it's just a question of being open, honest, and for some people, it is difficult to have those conversations because they haven't worked with anyone with a disability before. But at the end of the day, 1 in 5 people in the world are disabled. We contribute hugely to the economy, and we want to go out and work. And so, sorry if the lights have gone a bit dim. It's because we're having power issues here. I was telling Josh before we started recording, where I live in the countryside in Leicestershire, and we've been having power cuts, we've been having internet issues, and the lights have just dimmed a little. So I apologise for that. But no, businesses need to be open, they need to be inclusive, it needs to be brought in for law, you can't discriminate against it, there need to be harder, tougher sanctions, there need to be harder, tougher fines for people who do discriminate against people. And businesses who discriminate against it, and they need to have a recruitment policy as well. And also blind recruiting is also good as well, which we do. As long as you meet the essential criteria, you get an interview.
Well, the truth is businesses don't wake up and say, you know what, I want to discriminate against people with disabilities. They don't do it. No. It's just that they just don't know how to fix the problems or what are the next steps. And then if after they know what the problems are and then they don't do anything about it, that's the bigger problem. But if we can have the right conversations and teach businesses what they don't know, that's so important.
Yeah. What I've noticed about businesses as well when they try to take on employees is they do a lot of front of house where they make it accessible for customers, but behind the scenes they don't make it accessible for staff. And that's where they go wrong. So, for example, for councils, for restaurants, for wherever, you will find that you won't have any accessible kitchens because it's too small a space, or you won't have any accessible banks at the back or a disabled toilet in like a Santander or a HSBC or something. So there is also the cost element of it as well, where I worked for the council, as I said, for 8 years, and while the main entrance of the building where people would come in and visit at reception area and we'd have meetings in there, I can guarantee you now, if I went back to work in a wheelchair, I would not be able to go back to that building because it's not accessible. The only disabled toilet in that building was for public use. There wasn't one for staff members. So, and that was a 5-floor building. So, yeah.
Well, there's teaching moments at every part of a business's journey, and we're constantly evolving as a society, as businesses, and you got to keep making those touch points in order to. You can't flip a switch and every accessibility, every disability thing is going to be fixed. We gotta. This is a journey we're on, and
Yeah,
I love that
and it's going to
Snowball
take
is
time
helping to
to
have those
get there.
conversations.
Yeah, yeah. So
Life.
the more people use.
I was going to ask you, Simon, what is your life's motto?
There is always someone worse off than you.
That's true. Appreciate everything that you got, because it could be worse.
Yeah. It could be. I mean, I woke up one morning and I got tired. I would never sit up again. But look, I'm vertical. Yeah. And I think working for social services for so many years kind of puts not kind of a blockage, but realize that yes, you are disabled, but I've seen people, where legs have fallen off because because of sepsis, half their brain's missing. I've seen the best and worst in humanity through my job, that you can always reflect on saying, well, I've got it tough, but they've got it a lot tougher than I have. So why am I complaining? So, yeah.
And as a content creator and developer, how do you ensure content is accessible and inclusive for everyone when creating these?
I'm not going to lie. I am terrible at it. I do my best. I mean, I put whenever we put something out, we try to put subtitles on there. On our social media ad for Snowball, we've got subtitles on there. And yeah, but I mean, you can put not audio description. Sorry, you can put picture explanations at the bottom of each text as well.
Text.
Thank you. Yeah. But I am the worst at it, so I'm glad I've got staff to do it for me.
Well, that's the beauty. It takes a team to do this. Disability accommodations and making changes within the business. It's not something one person does. It's about leadership, recognizing that this is important and making sure that the business finds ways to make it happen.
When we launched the Snowball app as well, we thought. I've designed it from day one. Okay, so it's my baby, very protective of it. And I thought, right, let's send it out to some volunteers. So we put a thing on Snowball Community Facebook page and said, would you like to be a volunteer and test out the app? And we had 211 replies saying we'd like to test the app. So I sent it out to them and they started testing it. And I thought, I've been working on this for 7 years. It launched last year. And I thought, you know what, this is brilliant. This is fantastic. This is going to change the world. And all the feedback I got, it's a completely different design now than it was when I thought was accessible. Yeah. And so that 211 people who we tested it on just came back with some fantastic ideas about how to improve it, what we can include, what sections to change. And you've just got to be open and honest, say, look, we need, and that's the best thing about Snowball as well. It's evolving every day. So whenever we get feedback, we can change it as well. And you have to be adaptive to change to meet, because not everyone has the same disability, obviously. And we're trying to be inclusive as possible, so we need to be adaptive as possible.
Learning and growing together. The truth is we're stronger together, and that's how we do change the world. That's what Snowball is doing, which I love everything you're telling me about Snowball. It's a really, really important and powerful place for change.
One of the biggest features which gets used on the app on a daily basis, believe it or not, is actually blue badge car parking bays in London. So it's got because it's got every blue badge bay in the country on there in the UK, and that's one of the main features is trying to park in London. And because it also turns your phone into a sat nav, so because we use Google Maps. Okay, so if you're say you're in London and you need to find an accessible toilet or a blue badge car parking bay, it will directly to where you need to go. Okay, so that it'll pinpoint your position. So that's what a lot of people are using it for at the moment as well, to get around London and park in London and say, look, this is brilliant. I can get around London quite easily now because I'm not driving around for 2 hours around London trying to find a blue badge car parking bay. So that's one of the best features we've got on there, and one of the most popular features as well. And we're trying to incorporate that with the city of New York as well, and other major cities, to try and incorporate that to get people using the app and using it on a regular basis.
That's wonderful. And my last question, I'm thinking more and more about how you said that you had a workplace that you're trying to find somewhere where you can have 70 of your employees be at. So like, if you could create a disability-friendly workspace or environment, what features or elements would you include?
So first of all, we'd love obviously an accessible toilet, and then then it depends on their level of disability as well. Would like a hoist, of course, so people can get obviously hoisted in and out of the bathroom. Then if they've got a visual impairment, guides on the floor, which would be great. Okay, so they can use their cane to find out what's there. You're talking about desks that obviously movable desks that go up and down. We're trying to incorporate a lot of AI as well for people doing the assessments as well, and incorporating that with like press releases, report writing, just to make things a little bit easier. So we're using ChatGPT a lot as well to not mainstream things, but trying to help people make it easier to do their jobs as well. So AI is quite important to us at the moment. But then you're looking at things like, I'm just trying to think. So descriptions of when you go to the toilet, you could have a description of the room for visually impaired. And it's just trying to make it an overall nice environment for people to come, where they can sit around with like-minded individuals, have creative ideas, put it on social media, start campaigns, getting Snowball into every phone in the world, and trying to make it a more accessible place by people leave reviews and saying where you can or can't go. And that's what I'm trying to get to. However, I need to start off with getting an office, which I can't get.
Simon, you're a mover and a shaker. I have no doubt you're going to make this happen. If anyone can do it, you're going to do it. But Simon, thank you so much for being our guest today on accessiBe's Spotlight Sessions. Thank you so much. And to all of our guests, thank you so much for staying to the end of accessiBe's Spotlight Sessions. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and follow us at accessiBe_community. And as always, thank you for being on this journey with us. And again, Simon, till next time, thank you for all that you do.